It is 2003. You go to Walmart, you see the bargain bin, and the first thing you see, the spine of a PS1 game, Mobile Light Force. You think about it, could it be related to Gundam or what? And you see the cover art. This is Mobile Light Force. First impression in hindsight, maybe you think it's a run and gun game, has a Charlie Angel inspired look to it, maybe even a beat 'em up, like Fighting Force-esque. Then screenshots has like a weird shoot 'em up, and it's published by a weird company called XS Games, and we have to look forward for Mobile Light Force 2. What is this, right? I'm sure that's what y'all thinking, because this game looks a little unhinged, if we're being honest. Once you pop that sucker in and see that PlayStation logo, right? You don't know what to expect. And then you see the publisher name, XS Games, who have an interesting resume of shovelware from the looks of it. And some other games I'll talk about in a bit. But as you see the loading screen and then past it, you see Psikyo's name. Yes, Psikyo, the shoot 'em up company. Or team, I should say. If you let the game play the track mode, you will discover this is fucking Gunbird. So later, in the background, you see the Gunbird name. Also, notice how the characters have different names, like MILF 2000. And apparently, a lot of these names are like the name of XS employees. I think they were trolling because I doubt there was someone named MILF 2000. Another interesting detail is when you're looking at the instruction manual of Mobile Light Force, there's no art for Gunbird, or from Gunbird I should say, nothing. And even the character page doesn't even show who they are. You have to play the game to find out who they are. Just gotta imagine it, I guess. Wow. A little unfair, but when looking at the Saturn version, which was a Japan only release, it has color and it shows plenty of artwork. And it just overall looks nicer. And I'm sure it's similar with the Japan release of the PlayStation version. But wow, just the fact that the American version had to have a different name, and XS Games decided to censor anything that's anime related to the game. It's very sad, especially in 2003. Anime was slowly becoming popular by then, because we had stuff like Toonami. And not only that, the PS2 was a system that had a few anime games in the early 2000s, and let's not even dismiss the launch game, or one of the launch games, which was Orphaned. Anyone remember that? So the fact that XS Games decided to publish a PS1 game that late basically cut off this cool intro that was in the Japanese versions, and even the interludes that they added after being a level. And not only that, these guys even cut the friggin' ending. When you beat the game, you just get the word "the end." I didn't even bother to record that part because that felt so devastating. Interestingly, this isn't the first time that happened to a Psikyo game. As one can recall, Strikers 1945 Part 2 did come here, but as like Strikers 1945, as it was the first game that was published by H-Tech. And that was also censored too, but not as much as Gunbird for the PS1, where it got that whole name change. Of course, one can argue that the reason why the cutscenes weren't there, and maybe why some of the music wasn't there, is because it might have been too expensive for someone like XS Games, who specialize in shovelware. Yeah, you know what? That can be reasonable. I'm not even gonna argue with that. But it's also the idea that this game, Gunbird, the anime aesthetic is what makes this game stand out. And the fact they took it out, took a good chunk of the identity. Like, imagine if Kingdom Hearts just got rid of all their Disney characters. Imagine there was just a version like that. I mean, sure, some would say it would be interesting, but at the same time, it wouldn't be the same game or feel to it, at least. As for Mobile Light Force Part 2, that came out on the PS2, hilariously enough, they used the same artwork for the cover art, but what's even more crazier is it's not even a Psikyo game they did, like it wasn't even Gunbird 2, it is another game. It was a port of Castle Shikigami, which is an Alpha System game, aka the folks who did that amazing Elementary Ball game. In conclusion, while we didn't get an actual port of Gunbird here in the States, we got a censored version. But luckily nowadays, Psikyo has released compilations, which is more accessible, so making Mobile Light Force, honestly, just a novelty.